Okay, hey, good evening, folks. I just got back from a powwow in Coeur d'Alene. It's pretty cool. I had one of my brothers and his wife call me out, and I really needed that. And it just kind of gave me some good motivation to speak about what's going on in our tribe, what's going on with me, and then no shame in my game. However, I have to be careful about what I say because there is a protection order in the sense where um, somebody filed it against me, um, and it's not going to help their custody case or the federal case because they're going to. It really isn't doing anything but to be an irritant, and so um, unfortunately, I got to battle that. But what I'm going to do is tell you guys case numbers. That way you can look them up. I can always and I can tell you what's happening with me. Again, there's no shame in my game because I don't have anything to hide from the tribe. I will tell you things about people that maybe some of your family members, but if your family members are the ones that are messed up, then they should have never done it in the first place. So I really don't care if that hurts your feelings or not. Um, First thing first is just to get some of the rumors out of the way. And from what I've heard was that there was Kathy Saluskin got fired from her job not too long, obviously, after Delano lost his job as a tribal council chairman. So I think it's just a domino effect with that stuff because, their daddy's not in there to cover them anymore, and rightfully so. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be in there anyway. I mean, they don't have any professionalism in there. As a matter of fact, I could tell you, um, like when I got back home, Kathy told me straight up that she got fired from her job from the state because she was, and it's so cliche that she was sitting there photocopying her ass um, on the printer and sending them out to guys, and she didn't understand why she got fired from a state job for that. That's pretty crazy. So I was just like, wow. So where does she go? She goes to the tribe, and the tribe hires her. But anyway, that being said, um, I'm going to tell you guys a couple things. Hopefully, you get it, you see it, you understand it, and this helps you in your fight against the tribe. So, first things first. So, the federal court case that I have, should you want to look it up, um, and it deals with myself suing those 18 individuals. One of those being my somebody that I cannot say a sister, and her name is Alyssa Buck. Um, and again, this woman sat there and stayed in my house for 6 months rent free, didn't pay a goddamn thing at my house, and this is how she repays me by doing corrupt stuff. But that's happened like I think 2018, something like that. And as a matter of fact, it's kind of weird because probably a good precursor for this, and I'll tell you guys. So she asked if she could stay at my house with her and her daughter. I'm not going to turn them away because at that point in time, my significant other, that was her sister, and I'm not going to turn Alyssa and her child away because they have no place to stay. And I just asked her, I was like, well, why don't you go stay with your mom? And that's what she's always done. So evidently she married this guy in Puyallup and then came over to Spokane. And she was so distraught that she literally had a date within 5 days of going through her divorce case. So obviously I'm being sarcastic about that. But what had happened with that was when she got back, then I was still out of the house because of an order. But she asked me, she's like, hey, what do I need to do? So I helped her with her divorce. I helped her with her divorce from that guy over there in Puyallup. She went through the divorce. She got what she wanted. Then she came back. Well, lo and behold, like not too long after that, 6 months later, she didn't have a place to stay because one of her family members was in the hospital. And she went to this dude's place, her ex-husband, that she only knew for a short time, and laid down for him. And she got knocked up pregnant. I don't know how else to tell you folks, but basically just spread her legs for him, and just that easy. And she got pregnant, and she had another child. And I don't know if she's with this guy now again, but supposedly she's married to some dude named Wright, but crazy. So the court case that I'm going to give you is the first one I'm going to give you is the federal court case. And anybody's allowed to look that up online and do some of this stuff. But the case number is 2:22-CV-00297. It was ordered to proceed against Yakima Nation, which Yakima Nation is going to lose because it's a civil rights thing and it's a deprivation of rights under the color of law. Not only to mention that I helped another fellow tribal member file against Yakima Nation. And the basis of that federal court case is because, for instance, two instances. On June 25th of 2019, they conducted a court case. And in that court case, neither party showed up, yet they still held court. And they, once they issued the order and conducted court, then they notified me after the fact. And then allegedly I signed for it on July 10th of 2019 for a court case that happened on June 25th of 2019, damn near a month after it happened. The second time we went to court, right after that, neither party showed. So neither the petitioner and me, the respondent, showed up, and but they still conducted court, and they called it all good. They said, yeah, well, we'll do this. So that's in direct violation of RYCs. It's direct violation of state law. It's a direct violation of federal law, because what that is that they can't hold court without you being present or the other person being present. If nobody shows up, then it should have been automatically dismissed. But you can put two and two together and figure out how it happened. As a matter of fact, they sent notification not to my physical address. They sent it to her address. So how am I supposed to get notified of something when they send it to her address? And they called it good. So I had a response in that federal court case, and this federal court case is pretty huge. What's going to come out of this federal court case is more than they want. So what it's going to bring out is the complete corruption of the Yakima Nation. One, for instance, the CARES Act dollars. So I was told by Ned Tilliquats, when I asked him to find out about my court case, what was literally going on. And he's like, well, you got this, and it was just yada yada yada, same type of standard response for those elected leaders. So I kind of massaged it a little bit and asked him. I was like, well, hey man, I got to ask you a question straight up. I was like, what about and this was completely off subject to my case. I was like, hey, what about that CARES Act money? What about that federal money that was given to the tribe? And he's like, oh yeah, well, we did an investigation on that. We had our own accountants do this. And he goes, it is true that there was 30 cars um, bought with federal money um, for tribal council members' families and things like that. So whatever those 30 cars were done, that's still not okay. I mean, that's a felony, as a matter of fact. So it's embezzling money, it's misappropriation of funds, it's tons of things that are not okay under RYC's state law and federal law, as a matter of fact. So that federal CARES Act money, just, I don't know. I mean, it was supposed to be for the people, but Ned Tilliquats, like I said, the general council chairman, told me straight up that they did find out. They had their own accountants, and they found out that 30 cars were bought for tribal council members. So I don't know what that pisses me off. But anyway, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So hopefully that gives some people some questions of like, why is tribal council doing this stuff and why are they hiding these things? But after I found out for my stuff, I found out that the person that I was with, she was filing this stuff since 2018. I didn't find out that she was filing this stuff until June of 2021, even though that she was living with me. So I did that, and I did it play by play, year by year, month by month, and I have this stuff. And if you look up that case number for that federal court case, you'll see. You can file a FOIA, which is a Freedom of Information Act request. You can ask me, and I can, I would gladly send it to you as long as you paid for the mailing and stuff like that, to see what documents I have against the tribe and the tribal court and things like that, because they did act outside their scope of authority. And I'll even share with you what those illustrious attorneys in Office Legal Counsel had said. And I'm being extremely facetious when I say that with those attorneys, because those attorneys that appeared for those tribal members are Ethan Jones and Marcus Shirzad. These people, first of all, they're attorneys that are not supposed to go against tribal members. That's by RYC. Secondly, when they know that their client, who is supposed to be the Yakima Nation, is doing illegal things, they're supposed to excuse themselves from any of that stuff and let them and tell them, like, hey, you need to change this, you need to change that, otherwise we're not going to have a job. But the reason why they have that job there is because Ethan Jones and Marcus Shirzad they think that they're covered by sovereign immunity. They don't realize that after this video that, I'll file a bar complaint against them, stating why. Because it even states it in our resolutions and our revised Yakima code that they're only supposed to be doing things, certain things for their tribe. And obviously the reason I know this is because my brother, Quana, used to work work for our tribe in different facets. One is a legal executive director, two as tribal counsel, independent contractor, and three as a general counsel, independent contractor. So he knows this stuff. And so some of these things that I asked him way prior to this was like, hey, how can they do this? Or how can they do that? And he explained it to me way back when, even when I was fighting for Sally Jewell money. And so he's been, way back then, which was, gosh, when was that? 2014, 2015, I think. He told me certain things that their attorneys were supposed to do and not do. But unbeknownst to you folks over there, or known to you, but you didn't know what to do, is that the Office of Legal Counsel is supposed to not be just for tribal counsel. They're supposed to look out after political matters and legal matters that deal with the tribe first and foremost. They're not supposed to go down to to individual tribal members unless there's something that's detrimental to the tribe in the end for that stuff. Say, for instance, jurisdictional issues and things like that. However, that being said, no individual member is supposed to be afforded or allowed legal representation by the Office of Legal Counsel. As a matter of fact, they're supposed to go outside, and if they want to do that, then they need to contract outside of that stuff. So there's just multiple things that's completely wrong, and nobody stood up and said that other than me. And I don't care if I'm the bad guy. They mess with me. They poke the bear. And so I'm not going to give up. I mean, my civil rights, the rights of my children, and who I am as a person doesn't afford me that passive approach to what they're doing. They know that they're wrong. They highly know that the case that I filed against them was, as a matter of fact, already judged on by the Supreme Court of the United States. And it was an 8-0 in-bank decision against the tribes for suing individuals in the tribe. And that's what I'm doing, is I'm suing individuals within the tribe that were acting in their positions outside their scope of authority. And what that means is that, they were, say, for instance, the supervisor was saying, whatever, but he extended it and said, hey, if you don't do this in your personal life, then I'm going to have to fire you. That's acting outside their scope of authority. And so that's exactly what they did in my case with my children, and allowing the partner of my children to have custody of those things. So those people are not going to get away with this stuff. I can tell you for a fact, if you want, I can tell you the 18 names that I'm suing, and they're all critical and key to what's going on. And I'll tell you that right now. So just bear with me and give me a second to those 18 people. So then that way you folks know who it is that's on the hook for all this stuff. So let's see here. And again, I have RYCs and federal law that's backing me up on this stuff. gosh. So one of the things that I keep hearing over and over again that people say, well, we have ICWA, and I'll just dispel that rumor and myth right away. What you're looking at is ICWA, for instance, and it's 25 U.S. Code 1911, Indian Tribe Jurisdiction over Indian Child Custody Proceedings. Two things that pertain to that, and it's a subparagraph in alpha. Exclusive jurisdiction. An Indian tribe shall have jurisdiction over exclusive as to any state over any child custody proceeding involving an Indian child who resides or is domiciled within the reservation of such tribe, except where such jurisdiction is otherwise vested in the state by existing federal law. The second part to that is that there's the full faith and credit to public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of Indian tribes. So basically what that means is that this court will listen to that court, and they should be able to honor this court's proceedings. But if it's not brought in good faith, and good faith means if it's not brought truthfully or factfully. So what my partner at the time did was she didn't bring that truthfully or factfully in that, because since we separated, we've still lived here for the past 13 years. It's been about a decade since we were together, and you know, she lives here, she works here, we live here, we work here. And you know, there's some other things that have this case precedents. For instance, let's see here. When does a state have jurisdiction? A state court has jurisdiction over a child custody proceeding involving an Indian child in four situations. One, the very most important one too, where the child is domiciled or resides off an Indian reservation and is not a ward of the tribal court. 25 U.S.C. 1911 Bravo. That means that our children, which later on I'll tell you the court case too, have never resided or domiciled or not even enrolled. Can they be enrolled? Yes, but that's not the point. Even if they were enrolled, they've never resided or domiciled on the reservation. And they don't reside or domicile within the reservation. So the jurisdiction falls again in Spokane Superior Court, who honestly, to tell you the truth, lack of a better perfect word, are a bunch of pussies, and they haven't done their due diligence on reading that law. They give some bullshit excuse as a Rule 82.5. So these people are just a joke all the way around, the tribal court and Spokane Superior Court. Right here it reads, what is domicile under ICWA? Domicile looks to the person's physical presence in a certain place along with the intent to remain in that place. Children typically are unable to form the requisite intent to establish a domicile, so the domicile of the child is determined by that of the parents. Domicile is important in child custody proceedings because it may affect the jurisdiction of the court. Well, that's plain and simple. I don't know whether you guys know it or not, but that means that wherever the parents are, the children have to be. Nonetheless, many factual issues implicate jurisdiction, such as whether the child is an Indian and whether the child is domiciled on an Indian reservation, which we're not. So what that means is that Spokane County, Spokane Superior Court, whatever it is, they have jurisdiction, but they fail to do their due diligence, which means that they fail to research and do their things that is necessary because the tribe is doing some illegal things, again, as always, to enforce their what they call sovereign immunity. So they think that's a catch-all, and that's what these tribal attorneys, Ethan Jones and Marcus Shirzad, do. They couldn't make it out in real life if they tried. They probably graduated, and first thing they did is ran to the tribe to see if they could understand this stuff. And say, well, yeah, I graduated, so I need a job here with the tribe. But gosh darn it, bear with me. I got to get the original court filing. I have it here. But so I'm still getting back to the 18 people. So the list of defendants that acted outside their scope of authority. So just so you know, these are the 18 people that I'm suing out of their that acted outside of their scope of authority, that are know full well what they did. So it's Gerald Lewis, George Meninick Sr., Charlene Tilliquatz, Christopher Wallahy, Terry Heemsaw Sr., Jeremy Takala, Ruth Jim, Dylan Alney, Terry Gowdy Rambler, Philip Rigdon, Tamara Saluskin, Rona Washines, Ted Strong, Alyssa Buck, Cecilia Palmer, Mary Wappett, and Anthony George Jr. So those are the people that I'm suing individually, because they obviously failed to do what was legal, moral, and ethical for me in my case. I'll tell you, I had a conversation with Gerald Lewis. Approximately, I've got it listed down in there in my journal. Approximately a month ago, and what he said was that we did you wrong, Mr. Spencer. We're going to settle with you, and I'll talk to our attorneys. That's coming from Gerald Lewis, and I got it dated in my journal, and I believe it was like January 22nd when it happened. So they know they messed up. They know they did wrong. It's highly illegal for them to do this stuff because it's trampling not only on your civil rights or my civil rights, my constitutional rights, my parental rights, but they did it in such a way that they thought I was just going to roll over. And I don't know if some of you folks know me or not, but I'm not that type of person. I don't just roll over for that. I don't live on the reservation. I'm not afraid of anybody on the reservation. I don't care about people on the reservation. I thought my family was my family with the person that I was with, or the woman that I was with. And that's what sucks. Obviously not. So now I just have to protect myself and my children. But that being said, again, you have the federal court case. I'll repeat it again in this thing so you don't have to go all the way back to the first part. But it is, again, 2:22-C as in Charlie, V as in Victor, -297. And the judge on that is Chief Judge Bastian. So that's where it's at right now. I've helped out another tribal member do the same thing, and he filed for the very same thing under Title 18, U.S. Code 242, which is deprivation of rights under the color of law. And so they've got 2 cases right now. So Ethan Jones and Marcus Shirzad, have a lot of things cut out for them. One being that they're both, that they're not competent to do this stuff, and they're doing illegal stuff against tribal members. I'm pretty sure they're not just what they think that it is that they probably tribal council allows them to do things so that they can get away with it. But at the same time, then they help tribal council do things so that they can get away with it. So it's a quid pro quo thing for them. So I gave you that case number. My most recently, so like the tribal court case, which I have on appeal, which they can't touch because I have it on appeal, is, let's see here, the Court of Appeals. How did I file that? So the Court of Appeals number for that, which they can't refute and deny, is, let's see here. And granted, I got 56 pages of this stuff that are all facts. So the Court of Appeals number for that is, the appeal number is COA-Alpha Papa-2021-0001. So they're jammed up in tribal court too as well. But, I knew what I was doing. And so I've exhausted all means at the tribal court level. So now they're pretty much, lack of a better term, they're fucked. They don't know what they're doing. And they just thought that I was some dumbass Indian in tribal court where I would just go along with it and be okay with it and agree with what they said. That's not happening. Trust me, man. This is for my kids. It's for my family. And, I don't care what my partner thinks because they did the wrong thing to begin with. And it's a lot of revenge and resentment on her part. And I don't really care. If I have to sit there and raise the kids without her, then I guess that's what I got to do. Unfortunately, she chose that path. And I'm going to tell you guys straight up, I did not kick her out. She chose to leave April of 2021. So again, I gave you the federal court case. I gave you the tribal court case. I'll give you what I did for filing for joint custody court case, which is, let's see here. And the good thing about this is that I have all this stuff on a timeline and journaled down and backed up by facts, not by hearsay, but by facts. Again, you can't dispute it. It's not like it's not cognitive dissonance, and that's not going to work. You're not going to make me think that the sky is green and the grass is blue. That's not happening. Sorry. Next person, not me. So, gosh, what is it? So, I can't find this right offhand and right away, but it happened in 2000, or September, August is when I filed it. She got served right on our birthday, like actually probably like August. Yeah, August 8th is when she got served on her birthday. And then the thing came through September, where it was sent back to tribal court, because tribal court, again, the state didn't know because they're too dumb to figure this shit out, and do their own due diligence, and do the right thing and the legal thing and the moral and ethical thing. But this most recent thing is this person filed a protection order against me, and I'll tell you that case number, which is 232-00662-32. Again, that case number is 232-00662-32. So, I've done a lot of my due diligence. I still have a lot of facts. I mean, I literally got a file cabinet with everything that I keep in there pertaining to these cases. And it's all, it's undisputed, pretty much. It's not hearsay. It's not like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna play stump the chump with somebody. It's really stuff that you can see if you honestly. It's not a typo. It's they knowingly did this stuff. So that being said, I'm going to kind of wrap this up, and I can get into more of it. But at least I gave you the federal court case. I gave you the state court case. I gave you the appeal, the tribal appeal case. I gave you some other little goodies in there too for this thing. The second thing throughout all of this is that I want to arm tribal members with this knowledge, and those people that are good, not counterfeit Christians, not like, hey, I'm going to look out after my family for this, and this is the thing that I do, because that's not right. You're supposed to police your own, even whether it's your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle. The right thing should always be done. You shouldn't have to look over your shoulder, your left and your right, to see if you're doing the right thing. I try to live by that, as a person, and then as a Christian, and as a Marine. I didn't ever have to do that. I never got questioned in the Marine Corps for any of that stuff. And I don't get questioned. I got questioned more out here in the civilian life, because those people themselves aren't of the caliber of having integrity, having these things. So the other thing being, like I said, is that the tribe is screwing you guys over big time. They're stealing that Federal CARES Act money. They have these things that are set in place that they always threaten you or do something against you with the help of Ethan Jones and Marcus Shirzad, which is against their professional code of conduct, on top of RYCs. And, they will be dealt with. They might think that they're doing something right and legal, but it's not. They can be disbarred for this stuff. And so, and some of you might say, well, why aren't you doing this, Kyle? And the reason why I'm not doing it right now is because I have that federal court case. I have the Spokane Superior Court case. I have the tribal court case. And then on top of it, I have the emotional stress of not being with my children. And so I got to take one thing at a time. But I will tell you that I've also contacted the BIA, and that specific person that I contacted was Chad Wyeth Wallace. And then he gave me the number of his boss, his superior, who's in Seattle, or Portland, of a Ryan Mercer. His name's RyanMercier. And I spoke to him about that. And the reason why I did that is because then that doesn't let them off the hook, and they know about this stuff. So he asked me, well, send your stuff. And I was like, no, I'm not going to send you the stuff. You can sit there and go and take a look at it yourself. I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to do the legwork for him. So if they know it happened, so they can't sit there and play dumb, just like the tribe does all the time, and says, well, hey, we've done this, so we don't really know. So it's basically what they're trying to do is plausible deniability. Well, they don't have plausible deniability. So again, now that they know this, then after that, then I want to go after the BIA. And then when I have to go, it's probably more than likely at the same time that I'm going to go after BIA. Then what I will do is sue the tribe again, and it's going to be considered a qui tam case. I'm not going to go into the qui tam case for you. You can look it up. I'll spell it out for you, but it's spelled QUI and TAM. And that one is on behalf of tribal members that have been wronged, just like myself and Jason Tamawash and Keisha Lewis and numerous other people that have asked me to help them out. I wish that I could help everybody out and do that, but I have to take care of my kids too at the same time. So it's not, once is a coincidence, several times is corruption. So, just those three cases alone are going to be very on top of the tribe trying to sit there and explain to you that, hey, we didn't steal any money, we didn't buy 30 cars, or we didn't do this. Well, that came from the general counsel chairman or vice chairman. So explain that off. So they're in the positions to know that stuff, whereas you and I are not. So, I don't know. Sometimes, silence is acceptance, and not saying anything a lot of times can be good or bad. But generally what they're trying to do is a playbook, just like these three-letter agencies, CIA, FBI, ATF, all these do everything, is like admit nothing, deny everything, and make accusations. And that's what they do. They're great at it. They try to debunk, they try to do things against their own tribal members, which is against our own culture, against law and all that stuff. So, these folks do that. And until we hold them accountable, until I hold them accountable for my stuff, then nothing's going to change. It's going to remain the same. It's always going to remain the same. There's other people out there that have been wronged, like the Hoptout brothers, just like the Salazar Sally Jewell stuff, where Delbert Wheeler was buying people's gas and all this other stuff. That still goes on. It's just not Delbert Wheeler. It's people like Delano Saluskin. It's people like Harry Smiskin. These people are still there. Ted Strong, Roger Fyander. As a matter of fact, when I went up to the podium to talk, it was pretty interesting because everybody was like bum rushing the podium on general counsel when I was there. And some of saw me and when I was up there and I was trying to talk. But when I went up there, Ted Strong reached over and gave Roger Fyander an envelope, and Roger took that envelope right away, put it to his heart. He's like, just start, grinning from ear to ear. And Ted Strong told me, he's like, hey, that's from the CEO of Yakima Nation Hops. And Roger just sat there. He just looked at me and he's like, okay. and he was happy about it. And that's, that's to be expected from somebody like Roger. I was going to tell you guys too before I got off on this last thing is that I got a message from, let's see, I'll read it to you guys because, again, I have no shame in my game, but I'll read what Tamara sent to me. She's like, "Good afternoon, Mr. Spencer. Please see the attached letter regarding future correspondence and formal requests for court services." And this further exemplifies how illegal they are and how corrupt they are about this stuff. She's like, "Greetings, Mr. Spencer. This letter is to inform you that our court staff and myself will no longer engage in telephone conversations with you. Hereinafter, we will only correspond through email regarding official court business." This is a direct violation of civil rights and our own RYCs. You cannot sit there and keep me from a courthouse or doing any of that stuff. It's a whole civil rights thing, and it's like freedom of speech too, basically. But anyway, as I'll continue, you may contact myself or court administrator Jennifer Manuel by email using the following addresses. So she gives me Tamara and Jennifer Manuel, who both of them are turds. This is due to your increasing verbal threats and persistent use of abusive language with and towards staff. We also request that you prearrange any in-person court business as we prepare to have law enforcement available. And she CC'd Crystal Bass, Jennifer Manuel, Rona Washines, Ethan Jones, Marcus Shirzad, James Scheich, and Jeremy Takala. All these turds that are the same ones, with the exception of James Scheich and Jennifer Manuel. But I'm going to go after James Scheich and Jennifer Manuel because they know exactly what's going on. And here's how I responded. Saluskin, I don't care what you or anyone in our tribe request because you have condoned the illegal conduct that you, staff, and tribal officials have been allowed to perpetuate on me under the guise of sovereign immunity. This letter further exemplifies the illegal conduct and lack of due process that you, staff, and tribal officials are willing to commit. I also believe that the Office of Legal Counsel attorneys Ethan Jones and Marcus Shirzad are fully and competently aware of the situation and that they themselves are fully complicit in committing the obstruction of justice that is going on by the issue of this official letter from your office and as the Justice Service Deputy Director. I deal with facts. I deal with black and white facts, and all the people that you courtesy copied with this message will not be absolved of or use the bullshit excuse of not knowing. I have this paperwork and facts. You all have an obligation to do the legal, moral, and ethical things that are required of you in your positions. However, when you all act outside the scope of your authority, then it becomes a matter that has to be addressed. And if you cannot police your own, then the federal court system, which already has my case, will do that for you. So all these things that I'm telling you are true and factual. If you request something from me, please bear in mind that I can't do all these requests. I will tell you that I get threatening phone calls from people. I'll tell you that I get phone calls that are just annoying, but I'm still hanging in there. I'm still doing the same things because I'm going to fight for my kids. I'm never going to sit there and back down from somebody that's trying to take away my civil rights and my parental rights. So again, hopefully you guys take a look at this and take it for what it's worth. Please do your own research. I gave you the case numbers. I gave you the court numbers. if you want something from me in the sense of like contact information, I will tell you that my email is at that point in time. I'm not going to share it out there right now, but I will give you some of this stuff, and I will show you every communication between myself, tribal council, Ethan Jones, Marcus Shazad. I will tell you all that stuff. I will even tell you what I sent to Roger Fyander, who's supposed to be somebody protecting me, not only as a tribal member, but as a family member. And he chose not to do that. So I'm not going to jeopardize myself for the tribe. And I'm not going to sit there and put my name on the line when the tribe is messing up. A lot of people sit there and ask, like, well, what if your family did this? I was like, yeah, well, what if a dog had a square ass? Is he going to shit bricks? I don't know. But my family would never do that because they know better. They were raised right. And the tribe is jacked up. And you have to sit there and admit that. The tribe is jacked up. They don't understand this stuff. They do it, think they can get away with that with everybody. And that's not happening. Not with me. So, again, share this with your family members. If you need some help, I'll try to help you out the best that I can. I'll tell you what the avenues that you can do. And know, like I'm telling you before, I don't care what it takes. You couldn't pay me enough to go back over there and fix the tribe. I don't care if it was $1 million year salary. I don't want to be back over there. So please, I appreciate it. And it's a good thing that some of you ask, but this is not going to happen. I don't like the tribe. They've done me wrong since the day I was born. So, please ask questions. And I hope that you have a good night. I'll probably be in there some more and giving you guys more details on each and every single case. And I may even read the narratives for you on some of those cases. So again, you guys have a wonderful night, and hopefully this helps you out. And hopefully this is, I think this is probably better than the other videos. I said utter, but other videos. So please let me know. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.